All right, welcome. This is Dynasty the podcast show. Uh, how I got here, my teaching. welcome. Like I said, this Dynasty podcast show. I'm your host, Ira Thomas Bush the Fourth. I just want to say thank y'all for tuning in and listening. Um, like I was saying, it's been a lot going on, and I just want to say thank y'all for I just want to be like this. I appreciate everybody who took the time out to even listen to my show. There's a lot been going on in the world. I try to make sure I keep y'all in tune with what's going on. I think the last few shows have been very very powerful for people. If they're listening, they could pass it back to their family and their friends, and have real discussions about the change that's going on in the world. So I think I'm trying my best to do my job. I talk about just the steps that I'm trying to go towards completing a task of being a father, being a mentor, being the head person of my family. So that's really what it is. And I'm not in a competition with anyone in especially my family or anyone, just other families or other men. I just have strong beliefs. I have a very big vision, and I want to see things come to fruition and accomplish the goals that I set out for myself. That's what this is one of the main reasons why I'm doing Dynasty the podcast. This is one of the main reasons. I be on threads. I don't mind, I have like this, like I talk about it all the time. This is my intro. So I talk about it all the time. I have, so many people that are jealous of my ability to speak. I have so many people that have been jealous of me for so long that I didn't know. And the older I got, the more I paid attention to it. Not in a way of trying to find them or hate on them. In a way of it just I had to collect the information that I was shocked by some of the people who've done these things or that thing. I'm not even mentioning it in the. I'm not mad. I'm not trying to go at these people. You know what I'm saying? Whoever they are, if they still actually doing stuff to me, which I doubt. It's just more on a big scale where I go into these libraries and then there's people behind the doors and screens that are jealous of me, and this comes from people just, spreading out, a lot of hate and negative energy towards my name and my people, so, that's the biggest thing. I don't have time, I put myself in position to still be successful at the end of the day. I still am, like I said, I still am a great parent to the children of my family. And I try to keep my head up on all things, all situations. I taught myself how to do a lot of things by myself. My parents showed me how to do it once or twice, and then I practice it over time, and I've got a lot of stuff down pat, and I'm ready to dominate the world still. So, nobody's gonna stop me from elevating myself, and that's pretty much it. Today, it's gonna be a very basic show. Well, not basic, but very how I always do it in order. We're going to talk about politics, and we're going to talk about the community outreach stuff that's going on in the center in the area I'm in right now. They have an event today. I'm gonna run through that real quick, and then for sports, it's All Star Weekend, and there's the Rising Stars. They split it up in twos, and it's going to be a semifinal game tonight. I'm gonna try to catch that, try to step out to the event tonight, and then enjoy my weekend. Stay home. I got something coming up big that I'm preparing for mentally. It's a big change for me because I didn't see myself as a young child doing it, but I'm taking the steps to be a man. And how America runs, you gotta kind of put yourself in these positions to, you know, just like I was talking about earlier, you got to kind of step around people and step over people, and and send over people that are still in your way, that are jealous of you. So yeah. So going right into it, today's episode is called Dynasty. It's called Dynasty Freestyle. I done this. This is my second one I've done like this. This is not really a freestyle. I kind of wrote a little bit of notes before, but I ain't tripping. It's just it's Friday, so I just just do it that title out. And the reason why I tell y'all, I shot my child out every day, all the time on my show. She's a big part of the reason why I will never give up on myself. And I know she has the ability. She's probably just as strong as me, if not more, of striving to be great, striving to be successful. And that's what I'm gonna. That's why my show is how great it is and how big it's gonna be overall. And that's how I talk and that's how I speak. So, oh well. Now, going right into it, we're gonna go break down the February executive orders. Hopefully, we get through it. I got plenty of time today to do. I got at least over an hour to do my show today, so I'm gonna break down it as best as possible. Then we're gonna talk about some other stuff, as far as my opinions on it, how the political real is, how what I see, how the big the big straw man story is all the stuff that they throwing out there right now, the Epstein file, the ICE raids, and the blah blah blah. So we're gonna break that stuff down. I ain't gonna even go into details about all that little petty stuff that they trying to bring back up. The main thing that they're trying to keep you sleep is that bill that he passed. They throwing money around right now, and they want people to be distracted. So we're gonna discuss these things and what money need to be spent on, how they took off these types of things and all this money. They throw this 10 out, 10 million over here, 30 million over here, blah, blah, blah. That's petty money compared to what they're actually doing behind closed doors, the evilness and the destructive things that they are doing. They ain't even showing us yet. They're gonna show it to you 2-3 years later when he getting out of office or whatever he got going on. All that negative stuff. He likes that attention anyways. He already knew it was coming. He had all those. He was going to court for all these things already before he got back into office. The people that voted him back in, how this country was formed, is the main reason why he's in office right now. So we're gonna go over all that little discussion. We're gonna have a discussion on that. So let's go right into it. We're gonna start breaking down these executive orders. The first executive order is addressing addiction through the Great American Recovery Initiative. That was signed on the 3rd of February. So let's read that, and I'll give y'all my quick opinion of it. Purpose and the policy. The disease of addiction, also known as substance use disorder, is a crisis that touches families in every community, neighborhood in our nation. 48.4 million Americans, or 16.8% of our nation's population, suffer from addiction. And our administration will continue to respond to the crisis on the scale with the attention it deserves. Over the past years, we have made incredible progress in stopping the inflow of illegal drugs that threaten American communities. We must now supplement that by furthering the nation's efforts and prioritize addiction treatment and recovery. Now, they're trying to spin it. I like how they do all that. Oh, we're trying to stop the influx. That we've the government and the people that the biggest people that supposedly protect America have been involved in a lot of drug cases that are crooked and fraud, and they are main reasons. A lot of stuff points right back to them. So I ain't going into details. I ain't got time to throw salt or hate, but that's first and foremost. Then it gets to where they all have these pill factories out in the other countries, and it's legal. They got all these new opioid ways. All these different ways to bring this stuff into the country. Like I said, I'm not throwing salt. I'm making sure this stuff has been documented on the news, on historic channels, whatever they want to call it. They already documented. I'm not giving out no hate. I'm not hating on nobody way to hustle. And they try to throw it on the street level. It's not a street level problem. It's a big problem. That's why they're talking about it. So don't get mad that I'm speaking on these things. I have a child. I don't want her to get involved in these types of things. I don't want her addicted to none of this stuff. I don't want to take an Advil. You know what I'm trying to say? So, because I don't trust none of this stuff. And they need to make sure that's the drug they need to be trying to stop the inflow of, because that's the problem right now with the fentanyl and all that made up in the lab. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to spin it again. They're trying to deport people, from somebody's last name that was connected to a bus that they was a part of, and then all this craziness in 2026. That's not need to be a problem. That don't need to be the main thing. This is one of these straw man stories again. They try to draw the percentage and how many people addicted. Half of them people are old, decrepit people, that are dying from the weird old energy switch transforming and all that craziness they done did in the labs. They doing that because they want attention. So we're gonna speak on. We're gonna continue. Addiction is a chronic and treatable disease with relapse rates similar to other chronic disease. Unfortunately, very few Americans who need treatment ever receive it or believe they need it. Among the 40.7 adults that have substance or use disorder in 2024, did not receive substance use treatment. 95.6% or 38.1 million people did not perceive that they needed treatment. Despite the significant investment and resources in addiction recovery efforts remain fragmented and do not keep pace with the scientific advancements. Now, this is like I tell you, they like to spin it in a loop. There's so many people that strung out on drugs, and I stay in Florida, so I'm gonna break it down to you the scam and the scheme and the fraud that they do. They had these people in these recovery centers, the people that drive the bus, the people that's on the bus, the people that's in the facility, the people that's on the facility. They all addicted to drugs. So they put these people over here trying to make it a facade that they're recovering, and they the main ones giving these people drugs still, and they still allowing them to do drugs when they go on these little movie dates and going out to eat lunch and stuff. They be out here strung out on drugs still. So this is just some foolish. This bill get passed. I don't know what they got going on. They need to stop being in denial and address what they need to do. They're not handling it. They're not handling it properly. They're not understanding what they're trying to cover up something that they don't need to cover up. They need to actually just handle the issue. There's been several news outlets that are reported on addiction and the pill and the opioid. This been it. And then y'all throw fentanyl in right after they do the opioids. They're trying to figure out a new drug to get high on. And I tell you, my people, the black and brown community does not need to be associated with this. They need to make sure they don't mess with our marijuana plant. That is a very high medical use of success. And they were doing okay until they started trying to okay pills again. So this is not it. I feel like they talking about addressing the American recovery. Y'all need to address the fraud going on and the illusion that y'all keep bringing up is not proper. So let's continue. I'm gonna finish it. I ain't gonna break it down no more and let it be what it is. What I said. The cost of these failure and devastating not only live loss but also the ripple effect across our economy, workforce, and national strength. Addiction contributes to declining workforce participation, increased healthcare costs, homelessness, family instability, and loss of productivity that together cost the United States hundreds of billions of dollars each year. The people writing these are addicted to drugs. Don't mind them. The framework of addiction and treatment should parallel in the chronic disease, utilizing evidence-based career care, scientific advancement, continuing support, and community connection. My administration will drive the new national response in disease and addiction that will create stronger coordination across the government, the healthcare sector, and faith communities and private sector in order to save lives, restore families, strengthen our communities, and build great American recovery. Whatever they say, they just coming out here just for the the pom poms and whistles. They just saying anything. So people probably not even paying attention to all these executive orders. Still, I pay attention to for a majority of the part. I try my best. I don't have the resources yet to go in here and really go in here and combat these nays or the yays or nays of these executive orders. I don't have the resource. I'm not in position yet to do that. I don't even think the people that's in position, they like to report on the same story over and over, and they might not even be working on it all the time. So when I get in this position, I'm gonna be detailed. I can tell you that when I get my position that I want, I'm gonna be very detailed. So I ain't promising nothing, but I definitely will be. So let's continue. Celebrating America. The next executive order: celebrating American greatness with American motor racing. Now we're gonna read about this. I don't really know. I'm gonna see what they talking about. Purpose and policy for this executive order. For over 100 years, American Indy car racing has set the pace for motorsports with speeds topping over 200 miles per hour. The cars and drivers inspire awe and respect in all who watch the quintessentially American sports. It's giving us, it's giving, hold on, let's read it. It's giving us racing legends such as AJ Fort Bott and Mario Andretti, and continues to thrill every Memorial Day weekend when people travel from across the globe. The Indianapolis 500, the largest single day sporting event in the world. IndyCar racing is a source of pride and entertainment there for our nation, which is why I'm pleased to announce the Freedom 250 Grand Prix, Washington, D.C., the race, the first motor race ever held in the nation's capital near the National Mall, will showcase the majesty of our great city and drivers navigate the track around the iconic momentums in the celebration of America's 250th birthday, whatever they say. Now, we have actually, the city I'm from, they have, I don't know if they're still doing it. It was so much the way that they I could say it probably started I'll say it probably started probably after I graduated, a little bit, a couple years after. It was a lot of, I don't know, the graduation class out of high school. I'm talking about high school. The graduation class I was part of, that from, I'll say probably, I can't say '07 because I was in high school. '06, I'll say '06, '06, '07, I'll say '08. It started probably '08 because I remember I went to two different high schools during this time, three actually, and it was about the same energy. I'll say about '08 to like 2012, about that 4 year period. And I think it was more where it was Barack who really, I could give him that credit. It was just a lot of influx of black and brown people, or of different nations, that really wanted to see change and growth, and then stepping up into like a power. They thought that power in them. They wanted to step up and change as well. And I look at this type of executive order, and it's like, I don't know what the reason is for this. We have what I was trying to say is they have we have a race. We had a race. I don't know if it still goes every year or every other, however they was doing it, like a Prix, any car racing down in St. Petersburg. But it was like an influx of like drugs and guns on the streets at that time, because it was a chance where you had a choice between doing the right thing and doing the wrong, or what the people would call the wrong thing. And they tried to make that they wanted to smear that black face during that time of change. And that's what it comes down to. This is an irrelevant executive order, I guess, to me, just looking at it. And I'm looking at it like, sometimes I'm confused about why they're doing things, but they said it at the end is to celebrate something. And I just think they like to put stuff out in the air. And I know where I'm from is it's like it was a change where it ended up, they made it seem like my area is like the bad one, the negativity one in my area. That's why I wanted to come to. I don't think I think it was because we were still young and we didn't know exactly the power and of change we was having. I wasn't there all the time. I only visited. I did not, what I'm saying? I have a lot of family there still during that time, definitely, and even now. And it wasn't all bad. If once you caught on, I think it still ended up in my favor, in my overall, in our favor, probably ended up. But not everybody made it out. Not a lot of people, had the parents and training we had, even if from a street standpoint. So, I look at it like that all the time still. And I just, it's getting better. I wish I would have had the wherewithal to like say, like, because I started coaching during that time and I wasn't in a home area. I would have coached over there probably, and it would have been a lot more different. It happens all the time now. But yeah, like I was saying, that happens all the time. But whatever. I get what it is. Um, I look at it like things still gonna catch up. I think I caught on probably a little late, but I didn't. I was not doing. I was still doing my job, my purpose at the time. So I didn't drop the ball. I just probably was a little bit off kilter where I was supposed to be located, if that makes sense. So it's gonna get corrected overall, but it's just how the world is, how it goes. So hopefully everybody's still on track, on pace to still do their job and their assignment that they was put on earth to do. Now let's go to the next executive order. Addressing the threats of the United States by the government of Cuba. Now, I like that. Cuba's not that far from Florida. And, it's a lot of Cubans that are in Miami area and all throughout, the South Florida area. They do feel like a sense of entitlement being that close to, the United States and being that much, history between helping in the wars and the armies and all that. It's a lot of stuff that was going on in the early 70s and 80s and stuff with the change in the money influx, and even us helping them with the changing of their demographic, meaning like, having their cars and their shops and people going over there working as well, and us just mingling, intertwining with each other. But over time people feel entitled, and this is probably what this is addressing. So we're going to read this and then we're going to see what they're talking about. The national emergency. As the president of the United States, I have an imperative duty to protect the national security and foreign policy of the country. I find that the policies and practice and actions of the government of Cuba constitute an unusual, extraordinary threat, which has a source of whole substantial part outside the United States. The national security and foreign policy of the United States, the government of Cuba have taken extraordinary actions to harm and threaten the United States. The regime aligns itself as it provides support for the numerous hostile countries, transnational terrorist groups, and malign actors adverse in the United States, including to the government, Russian Federalization, and the People Republic of China, the government of Iran, Hamas, and Hezbollah, for example. The Cuba blatantly hosts dangerous adversaries to the United States, inviting them to base substantial military intelligence and capabilities of Cuba directly threaten the national security of the United States. Let me pause that, because are they say numerous hostile countries, transitional terrorist groups, malign the actors adverse the United States, including the government. So Cuba has basically, because the reason why Cuba is not, I'm gonna tell you straight up, the United States of America has done so much backhand negative ass shit to these people. They go over here in Cuba and bully them and infiltrate them via the way of, like I was saying, the Ku Klux Klan. They'll hide in police uniforms. They'll hide as your friend, as a person that's in the shop, and then they get all them tactics from them countries. Well, they combine the tactics from all those countries that was named, and then they try to take over Cuba. And Cuba was like, okay, come on over. You know what I'm saying? We're going to show you exactly where you need to go take over. So they point right over here to the United States, right over here in Florida, mainly the headquarters. And it's so chaotic because there's still a lot of Cuban people here. And they blame people like, regular hardworking people for the disassociation and them getting belittled. But it's not like that. We all in the same boat. You know what I'm saying? If people want to grab for power, and these people are European countries and Asia, they name Asia in one of the countries, China, Iran, and these are, they said those are examples, and these people are all bullying Cuba because the establishments they have over there and the tradition that they have over there are very Afrocentric, definitely, especially in the country. They come over here playing around, tap dance for the white man, and they go over there, they got like, hip hop, Spanish, they got all kind of stuff over there. If you read the Spanish book that they give you in school, it's a whole different change when you go over there, and that's all it is. And I feel like I read a little bit. I have not studied Cuba, but the little bit that they teach us in school, I think is probably a cool place to visit. And I hope they're not over there doing crazy stuff, but it's unnecessary because them people been there and they still like in the middle of water still. So it's like I don't know why they want to bully people and do all that, but that's just how it is. It causes a lot of dysfunction amongst black people and brown people when they go over there and mess with people. When they come and blatantly, and I'm not going against the United States. I stay here. I'm not Cuban. But I don't want that to come back on my family. I don't want to come back on the people that's in law enforcement and military. I don't have time to be going against people that can help me in the future. That's my main thing. And I hate that I gotta speak like this in open public, but y'all see the kind of maniac psychopaths that are trying to be in position of leadership, and I'm not going for it, and I'm not with them. I'm going in a whole different way. You know what I'm saying? And they don't know what domination gonna look like when I get to my full potential. So they gonna see. But hopefully it gets worked out. I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna read the rest of it. Unfortunately, Cuba, y'all gotta be on y'all keep y'all head on the swivel. There's a lot of people that are coming at y'all, especially from America's standpoint. But it seems like y'all actually have some good people behind y'all that are strong in military and in advanced technology and surveillance. So hopefully y'all get that stuff organized. Hopefully we don't put our nose in too much stuff that don't need to be put our nose into. That this is an executive order. This is like sending ice over there. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what they got going on. They putting their hands and everything. They don't need to. They might not need to do that because they already owe these people something. That's why they acting like the way they do. A lot of countries, a lot of little small countries and spaces like this, they feel like America has took something from them or owed them something, and it's probably because they didn't go by the agreement of something that they already did. And I still feel like Asia and Africa, you have to be mindful of these places still because this is the way that they come over here and try to manipulate as well because we keep putting our hands and feet in stuff that don't need to be put into. So let's continue and read. The Cuba continues to build deep intelligence and defense corporation and PRC. Cuba welcomes transnational terrorist groups such as Hezbollah, and Hamas, creating safe environment for these malign groups of these transnational terrorist groups can rebuild an economic, cultural, and security ties. I'm not going with, I'm gonna tell you straight up, I don't know nothing about those things. I will learn about them, what I'm finna get involved in, but I don't know about none of these places and how they're affecting me yet. But hopefully they're not affecting me. Hopefully the United States putting this information out that some kind of way they could establish some kind of some kind of communication with Cuba and stop these so-called terrorist groups. That's what they calling them, because we still got a military as well, so they have to be mindful of how people look at us as well. So we're gonna continue. Western Hemisphere, including the United States, Cuba has long provided defense, intelligence, and security assistance for adversaries in West Hemisphere, attempting to thwart the United States international sanctions designed enforce the stability of the region, uphold the rule of law, safeguard the national security and foreign policy of the United States. Cuba continues the upthwart of United States efforts to address threats of the United States posed by hostile countries, transnational terrorist groups, and I'm finna keep repeating that. This is a very long. This is something that basically I'm gonna tell you. This is something that is handwritten probably by the president and his core group of people. I guess he has a threat of Cuba, and it's probably personal more than it is towards the whole United States. It sounds very personal. It's like a personal letter to the people that passes the executive orders, and and when they exaggerate these things, it's gonna get people all in a trance of war of. And I'm trying being not being funny. If you indulge in bullying women and children, I ain't with you. So if that's one of the things y'all doing over there in Cuba, and y'all, and the stuff that I be speaking on all the time, then I'm with the president on how much of a threat it is. Now, if it's some more personal stuff, then I can't rock with you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't with on that personal stuff. This is how you start being petty, and you don't execute the real plan, which is change, which is putting people and black and brown descent in the position of power, so you could actually be, so you actually have a real defense. You can actually go out here and communicate properly. So, don't be mindful of that. That's the main goal you need to be focusing on. Don't be trying to put your friends in positions. Y'all already complaining about how much you're on drugs, and which one is it? So, we're gonna go in. I'm gonna let y'all. That's one of the executive orders. I think this is actually something that needs to be broken down. This is something that needs to be put into a forefront of seriousness, probably just a discussion. You can't just sign off and then start being a dictator. So hopefully it says a national emergency. So we're gonna hopefully everything gets properly done. I don't know what is and what is not. So I can't go there. I have a lot of people that are out in the country and in other worlds that have to defend their home turf that really care about me. I ain't finna step on nothing that can help me. I already know how I got attacked in the United States of America. It ain't nothing sweet. I mean, it ain't nothing that ain't serious. You get what I'm saying? It's from the tippy top. So I can't speak for everybody in the position. Once you go out my grandfathers and grandmother in the tippy top, then I'm gonna have to see what's really going on. That's how it's gonna be. And I don't care who like it. I've been in the school board. I worked in the school board. My children still go to public school, so I ain't going against nothing. I'm just finna figure out. I'm finna go ahead and dismantle and disassociate properly. Elite Youth Association is still my business. So that's really what it is. Now, that's it for executive orders today. Let's continue. Now, what's going on? I like what they're doing out here in the community center, in the community out here in this community. They have a movie night for the children. I think they give them food and popcorn as well. I'm gonna give me some food hopefully. I coach this summer, so hey, I might coach. I might be able to coach spring or just flag football, depending on what's going on. That is not at the top of my list anymore. When people start smearing my face and name and going out their way to cause disruption in my family, I have to go out a different way. So we're gonna have to go even bigger. But if it works out how it work out, if they want to keep doing fraud in my name and this dysfunction that they got going on and the improper activity that they done did over such a long time, we're gonna have to go ahead and do them in the real proper way. So yeah, I'm gonna go check it out tonight. It started at 6. It's 4 o'clock. So hopefully I give me some food and say what's up. I didn't bring my niece and nephew now, or my child, but I could chill. I can hang out, give me some food, watch a movie. I'm part of the community. I do my show here all the time. So ain't no big deal. And yeah, that's it. I hope y'all come out here though. It's at Palm Springs Community Baseball. It's a baseball field in the little community center. It's very nice setup. The children are very, it's a very friendly environment, very well protected. Like I said, it's very protected over here. So I don't mind. This area is very well versed. All the children of all colors and race are welcome to come. So bring your child out. Starts at 6. Come watch a movie for free. And yeah. And also, y'all can sign y'all children up. I think if you come a little bit early, the center, the community center for recreation closes at 5. So you come sign your child up for the co-ed football league. Flag football that starts in March. So yeah, come out here. So come sign your child up for that. I definitely every time I be a part of some sports, community, which I am of this, I always I don't mind promoting it. I don't mind. That's never gonna be. I'm never at a position where I'm gonna hate on a community center because they don't like that I have so much experience or they wanted to listen to the fraud and the slander of my name. I don't take offense to that. I just think they just not as intelligent. I present myself how I present myself, and then that's just how it goes. Now moving on. Talk about community, politics, sports. What's going on in sports this weekend? Okay, now I just wrote a few things down. Now, I actually think the way that they're doing the Rising Stars Challenge, which is the sophomore the players that's in the sophomore year, the second year, and the players that's in their rookie year, they're all on a team, and they have four teams. And they're I don't like that they put former players as the coaches. I don't mind it because I think the players that they pick have actually been a part of the NBA doing individual work with the players, so they have real good insight on the young players that's coming up, and they've been passing the torch. So I don't mind that. Hopefully, they don't be no old ran down, watered down, what do you call it? I don't want it to be sloppy. I want this to be a game where they showcase their real skills. I don't really pay attention to it, but I like the star power behind it, even in the players that they have been picking recently. So I'm gonna have to pay attention. I got time today. I'm putting my little effort into watching it. It's two games tonight, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Hopefully they compete at a high level because they do got a championship game. I think it's gonna be tomorrow when they do the skills. But that's so we gonna see how that goes. It's gonna be interesting, man. I'm glad that they split it up. I'm glad that they putting a lot of thought into how it looks. Now the product, they better be good because let's go right into the skills challenges. That's gonna be tomorrow, and I'm gonna diss it. Once they put the G League player the dunk contest, and he actually won at 5'8", and I just felt like they just disrespected the game at a whole nother level. If you take back to the 80s, and I think they was even in the 70s, they were doing the dunk contest. I don't think it was official yet, but they was doing it in the 80s for sure. And the players that were in the dunk contest were superstar athletes. The players that were doing the skill challenge were superstar athletes. Nobody took days off. Nobody wanted to not compete. You know what I'm talking about? All this prima donna, put somebody else's son in there so he could get propped up like he's some kind of great basketball player, and I could give you 500 street basketball players that's better than that guy that didn't get the opportunity. He just got the opportunity because he knows somebody, and that's just how it went. I didn't like that disrespect of the game. It disrespected my favorite players that were dunking on people in the games. Multiple players, talking about any you could name them, you could come across the board, and they were dunking on you every game. So I'm looking at it like that. I was like, it was disrespectful. I have not been watching the skills challenge for a long time. I didn't like how the 3-point challenge is still pretty competitive. Um, I like that, but people don't want to compete. People, these guys that are coming up in the league. I just seen somebody I don't even know the name of this person. He dropped 40 last night. So I'm happy they letting the youngest come in and do their thing. Don't be intimidated by the moment that you get. Don't listen to nobody that's hating. It's people on the basketball teams that have been in the league 5-10 years trying to not be superstars because somebody else is a superstar in the league. You ever get one of them? They don't even register. That's how that shit be looking sometimes. So I'm trying to figure out why these people even in the league. Who are telling y'all who they got like some kind of like, I don't know. If you get the opportunity to start, when you get the ball, it's a decision. Am I open or come set my pick? I don't give. You could be the superstar player on the team. Come set my pick, bitch. I've got a mismatch. I'm finna do him in, go in and dunk. You feel me? Like that? That shit is crazy. Like some robots out there. I be laughing about it because I grew up playing people way taller than me, way older than me, like 2, 3, 4 years. Sometimes I was never intimidated by playing against competition. So I get so agitated, I get aggravated. I was never the best. Once I got to an age where age didn't matter, I did not never was. I was never the starting one on the team. That happened. I'm gonna clamp your ass, lock you down. I'm gonna get it to the best score. And then at the end of the game, if I'm open, I'm shooting that bitch. I don't give a fuck what you talking about. That bitch gonna be from deep. I'm shooting it. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I always was. I ain't never changed. I still do it now. 2026. And I enjoy basketball. It's something I love to do. You can't mess up and disrespect the game I love because somebody finna retire. Somebody, they want somebody friend to be a star. I don't know what they be thinking in their head when they be out there. When you get your opportunity, go ball, go hard, go dunk on, go in. Stop being intimidated by the moment. Shit, if you don't want to don't be. If you're intimidated by the moment, tell somebody else to do it. Get out, sit on the sideline. You in the way, you messing up the game. So yeah, that's it for that. I ain't talking no much. It's Friday. I'm letting everybody be who they be. I'm gonna be who I be. So, I appreciate it. This is Dynasty the Podcast Show. I'm your host, Ira Bush, and I'll see y'all later. I'll talk to y'all. I might do a show tomorrow, depending on how I feel, So it ain't really much going on. Don't pay attention to all that rhetoric and all that slander. Make sure you know they passing money around. We talked about that earlier. Make sure if you're involved in the government, you ain't doing no fraud. You ain't stealing right now, because I'm paying attention to all things happening in Florida. I might not be going at you. I'm only here. I got 3 counties I need to focus on. That's the county my grandparents in. That's the county my mother in. If you ain't, and I got cousins that spaced out, they probably doing the same thing I'm doing. They probably not talking about it. So we on you. Don't be messing up, manipulating our children and messing up stuff we grew up doing. We ain't on all that. You understand? You understand? All right. Y'all have a good, safe weekend. Hopefully I can do one tomorrow. Hopefully y'all sharing light and pay attention, and that's all I can say.